30,000 people on it. 30,000. How long would it take you walking up and down the street, get them to sign a petition, even if they did, right? 30,000. What happened? The chief executive, Royal Bank of Scotland, ring me up. I was going on that Jerry, I get this wrong because I get Jerry Carl last time. What was it? The fella on the 11 o'clock programme?
Vine.
Oh, Jeremy Vine. I don't suppose he'd be too happy called Jerry Carl, will he? Anyway. But it's the Jeremy Vine show, whatever it is. I said, well, look, I'm going on the radio, why don't you come and discuss it with me? He didn't take my offer up. But basically, they asked me to see him, and we talked about it. If you notice, that went from $1 billion down to a couple of 100 million. It was a 93% success. Why? Because people power had been expressed in a powerful way, right? We were able to use that. A long time Gordon and Alistair negotiated. So there are powerful tools that we can use here. That was just but one small example, and we'll keep that going, even with Fred the Shred. I mean, God blimey. That pension, I mean, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? And when you consider they got together, the old board, they'd been sacked, they knew they were going to be taken out of bankruptcy by the taxpayer, they sat down and gave him that award of that pension. He just had his 50th birthday, so he could claim all that and double it up. It's just unbelievable that they should do that. In fact, I might just say, we're all shareholders here. I'm going to have a shareholders meeting. Would you decide today whether Fred the Shred should get his pension? All those in favour of getting the pension, please show. One. One. Oh, right. Those against him getting the pension, that it should be clawed back. Overwhelmingly. Send that to Gordon Brown. Tell him we've had a unanimous meeting here today. You know the one that got under my skin was Jackie Stewart. Anybody know Jackie Stewart? Plays around with motor cars. Royal Bank of Scotland gave £200 million, right, to the Formula One. They've withdrawn him. Good. Jackie's got a $4 million contract to be an ambassador. Can you imagine? So did Andy Money, to be fair. And Andy Money now said, look, I'm not going to do that given the circumstances. Jackie Stewart, no, I still want my money. You know what particularly legal to me about it? Not only that he was taking it given the circumstances when people were being thrown on the dole, right, businesses were collapsing, and he was still wanted his money. What annoyed me, he lives in Switzerland. He's a tax exile. You're paying the money and doesn't have to pay tax on it. I mean, it's the sheer arrogance of it. Now, it's an exciting time for us to be campaigning, isn't it? When you got Comrade Bush nationalising banks, you couldn't believe it. You couldn't have written this story, could you? And he actually borrowed money, you know, from China to buy some more financial institutes. If I'd have written that, I'd been certified and taken away, wouldn't I? Now is the time for the Labour Party, when it's talking about its policies, to do something effective. It's not about the bonuses, but the banks and their responsibility to the community. And if you want something to bear in mind and to tell people in campaigning, do you all remember when those mutual associations decided to go into banking and everybody's saying, my shares are now worth 1,000? Yeah, okay, that might have been all right for those who got shares, but what did they do? They began lending money to 110% on mortgages, right? They were allowing you to borrow up to 4 and 5 times your wage, when before you could only do it to 2 or 3 under the regulations, right? And that's what led to greed. What brought it all down was greed, greed, greed. Gordon Gekko in the Wall City firm. That's exactly what did it, right? No doubt about it, they just thought. And what makes it more appalling, how were they able to do it? They were able to do it because the Labour government gave them the best economic conditions for a decade that we've seen in this country. Low interest rates, low inflation, the longest sustainable economic growth, all ideal conditions for growth, which they then went and exploited and pursued for greed. We need to nail where the responsibility lies for all that. This was a government that showed economic prosperity and social justice.